I just started recording. We are going to be talking about a lot of updates that I learned about the AP exam. So this is going to be a really important one for people to watch. If you talk to some of your friends whose names I just said that aren't here right now, you know, hopefully the recording works and they can watch it later. Oh, I actually have, I was going to post kind of my agenda of things that I'm going to talk about today for you guys, so that you could go back and reference it later. And if you want to follow along, you can. I just put it into the comments of today's Zoom meeting, if you're interested in seeing that. So let's see. So to start off with, I want to do a little plug, and Hannah, if you would like to talk about it, you are welcome to.
Okay.
You want to jump in there, Hannah?
Sure. So as part of leadership, we're trying to find ways to have events or unite the school while we all can't be together. So I thought it would be fun if we did a trivia night over Kahoot, which is going to be this Thursday, tomorrow at 6:30. And the winner gets a $10 e-gift card to a store of their choice, because you just get gift cards from a bunch of different stores, so you get to choose. It's going to be fun. The teachers are going to play, and then we're going to have the students playing. I'm going to host the Kahoot and the Zoom, so it's going to be fun. And I'm going to send the Zoom code to everyone's school email. So join, tell your friends to join. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. I've got it in my calendar. I'm not going to miss it.
There are some really great trivia questions.
Cool.
About all your teachers.
Well, I know I'm going to get a few of them right. Maybe not all of them, but a few of them for sure. Okay. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was just a reminder, if you haven't had a chance to fill out the spreadsheet that has who's going where. I've really been enjoying getting to see people as they add their names to the list, and I know we're still a handful short. I am going to pass this along to Miss Lassick to share with her stats class after today. I just really was hoping to get as many of you guys on there as possible. I shared it with Christopher Hayner today too. I want to make sure to include him on there as well. So again, if you haven't added yourself to that list yet, please do. It's something that I really enjoy, and I really enjoy looking back at. So anyway, and I know it's around the time of year that if you hadn't already decided that that you're making your decision and committing to your schools. So just a fun time there. Let's see, just a quick little check-in. If you are not feeling it, you do not have to take the AP exam. I just want to kind of put that out there and say it is totally okay if you're not feeling confident about it. If you are feeling like it's just going to cause you too much stress, it is okay to not do it this year. I would like to know if you're not going to do it. I have a survey that I'll talk more about later, but that you can include in that survey if you are thinking that you might not take it. Jack, it's not an option for you, just to clarify there. Your parents might force you to do it, as I am forcing Jack to do it, although I'm sure he's going to do great anyway. So anyway, just wanted to kind of touch base about that real quick. It is something that, can cause high anxiety and high stress. So
Miss Russell,
if you're not feeling it, it's totally okay. Yes, Sarah.
I got an email about the AB test, and I feel like it's really helpful on the whole stress thing. Can I can I read it? Because I feel like it's really good information, because it
does have really good information, but I'm going to talk about a lot of it today, Sarah, and then after I talk about stuff, if you want to jump in there and do that, you can, and hopefully everybody got that email.
Yeah, because it says something how all colleges are accepting credit no matter what the score you get, and you can get a 3, 4, or 5 now. There's no there's no one like or two like, and I was like, wow, like that's like really like cool that like we're getting like that opportunity to just like get the college credits and everything. So yeah, I thought that was cool.
Colleges are very supportive of the changes that are being made to this year's AP exams, that's for sure. And so Sarah, hang on to that idea, and I will have you jump in a little bit more at the end if you have more to add after I've kind of talked about stuff. And then just real quick, I wanted to say too, if you are thinking maybe not taking the AP exam, we do have one big project that we do after AP exams that I'm going to have all of you guys do. It's the posters that you guys have seen around my classroom all year long, and I get excited about those. And so just kind of real briefly, you guys will find a topic that you are interested in, and then you'll do a little bit of research to talk about how math is involved in that. And maybe it's something that you're planning on studying in college. Maybe it's something that you like to do, like surfing or mountain bike riding or playing volleyball or baking or something along those lines. And so, you know, the baking's a little bit tricky. I'd had somebody do that one year, and the math in baking isn't very complicated. You know, it's like fractions and that kind of thing. But, you know, you might be able to figure something out where, yeah, anyway. So that is something that we'll do after the AP exams. There is going to be a final exam on the projects. It is not something that should stress you out. It is going to be something where you will have a study guide. And it's a question from each of the projects, and it's just kind of a fun little thing that we'll do at the end to kind of wrap things up. Okay, so here's what I know about AP exams. You will get an email that has an e-ticket. If any of you guys have not gotten emails yet from the College Board about AP exams, don't panic. You should be able to go into My AP and review your contact info, and you should be able to update your email. Okay, so that's something that you can do. And even if you do that and you still are not getting emails, you shouldn't panic, because your e-ticket will also be available in AP Classroom. Okay, so that's important to know, is you need to find that e-ticket, because that's what lets you into the AP exam. And you should get it in an email, but if you don't, you can always log into My AP to get access to it. They say that you should use a web browser like Chrome, but you should not use Internet Explorer. So that's worth taking a minute to make sure you know what web browser you plan to use, and it is not Internet Explorer. That will not work for some reason or another, so keep that in mind. I think that most of you guys will probably be handwriting your responses and then either taking a picture or scanning it and uploading it to them. And so if you do not have access to a smartphone or to a tablet, because those are the two devices that you would need to be able to do that type of handwriting and then upload, let me know. We'll see if we can get something for you for that. And then I think I mentioned I'm doing a survey for you guys later, and that's something that I ask in the survey. So that's how you can let me know, unless you want to send me an email also. For the people that are planning on doing the handwriting, they say a maximum of 5 pages per question, which should be plenty. That's a maximum. So you don't have to use all 10 pages, because there's 2 questions. But they say to get your paper ready ahead of time. So at the top of your paper, you'll write your AP. It's an 8-digit code. You'll write it at the top of each of your pieces of paper that you might use. So it would be a good idea to do that ahead of time on 10 pieces of paper, even if you don't end up using 10 pieces of paper. So it's your the ID and also your initials that'll go at the top. In today's the post with today's Zoom, I put a link for the 51-page slideshow. I'll just share that with you real quick so that you can see what I'm talking about. And it has all of this information, and so you can kind of go through and look at all of this. So here's like the very first page, and here's the second page, and it goes through this in more detail. There's nobody talking about it, obviously, as you go through this. but it has a lot of this important information. So that's something that I wanted you guys to have access to. And you'll be able to see in that an example of a piece of paper that's got the ID and the initials at the top. So you kind of know how to get those ready to go. One thing that I don't feel I know enough about yet, something that I'm interested in learning about, is if you guys are having to use a phone or a tablet, a smartphone or a tablet to take the test, I think you have to just read your questions right there on that tiny screen, and you have to kind of scroll back and forth on it. And I don't think it's going to be super easy to see it. There was mention at one time of being able to print out the questions. And so I want to find out if you guys can print them out, because I think it is helpful to be able to see the whole thing and be able to look back at it. So, so anyway, that's one thing that I want to find out more about. If you are somebody that has accommodations where you get extra time, that kind of thing, that's going to be already factored in. If you are worried about it at all, you should probably talk to Darlene, and she can find out if that is, you know, if that's taken care of and that kind of thing. There will be a timer. You guys may remember I mentioned they're worried about the timing of the whole thing and people running out of time and not uploading in time. So they plan to have a timer on screen for you while you're taking the test. But again, if you have this teeny tiny screen, I don't know if you're going to want a timer to be there the whole time, kind of taking up part of the screen for you. So you may be able to like close that out so you can see more of the screen. But I can tell you that when it's time to upload, there will be like a red timer that'll pop up that says you have 5 minutes left. It's time to start uploading. So they're really conscious of that timer thing, because if you don't start uploading before the time is up, you will not get a score, period. So it's really, really important that you do that. On that note, if something goes wrong during the test, they say don't panic. You can request a makeup afterwards. So like if your power goes out, or if the Wi-Fi goes down, or if something happens that, you know, makes it so that you can't upload your responses, you can request a makeup. On that note, it is really important that you are doing the test on Tuesday, May 12th. It's 11 o'clock that day. They do have a makeup day on June 1st, I believe it is, for the AP Calculus test. But you should plan on doing the May 12th one, because if something goes wrong, then you have that June 1st one as a backup. So, but they do say if you have started the test and something goes wrong, then you should request a makeup. Okay. If you don't even start the test that day, if something comes up and you're not able to do it that day, they say, don't even worry about it. They'll send you a new e-ticket to take the test on June 1st. So don't stress about that kind of stuff. They are really making sure they're taking care of, you know, people if things go wrong, because stuff goes wrong. It just happens. So, so be prepared for that. There are 3 different ways that you can submit your responses. One of them is the way that I'm thinking most of you guys will choose to go with, which is the handwriting and then uploading either a picture or a scan of your work. The second way is to type up your work in like Google Docs or in a Word document, and then copy and paste it into the browser where you're taking the test. And then the third way is, again, to type it up either in Google, you know, a Google Doc or a Word document, and then attach that typed up one. And they will have a sheet that has information about how to type up some of the math stuff if you need help with that. So anybody that's interested in doing the typed version, let me know so that I can help you get access and kind of plan and practice for that typing. Okay. let's see, next Monday, I believe, is May 4th. I think that's right. So they said on May 4th, they will have a practice available. So it's not going to be like an AP calculus practice test. It's just going to be a practice test for all subjects, just so that you can make sure that you can log in, that you can see the questions, that you can submit the work the way you are planning to do. So using one of those 3 methods that I just talked about. It sounds like you don't have to do it on May 4th. That's just the first day you can do it. And they say you absolutely need to make sure that you practice it, just because if you don't practice it, you may not know that you can't do it until the day of the test. So it's really important to go in and make sure you do that little practice run. And I'll talk about that more next week, because next week we will have had access to that by then. Okay, on the day of the exam, you will need the following 5 things. You'll need your e-ticket. There's a checklist, and I have, I'll share a screen with you to kind of show you that checklist, and I also included that in today's Zoom assignment or posting. You will need, the 3rd thing you will need is your device, and then the browser that you'll be using, which is Chrome or something that's not Internet Explorer. Need to make sure you have Wi-Fi available. So it would be a really good idea to talk to other people in your house when you are taking any AP exam about not using Wi-Fi. They say especially for gaming. If you have siblings that are doing gaming, ask that they don't do it during your AP exams. It sounds like that's something that they're concerned about. And the 5th thing to make sure that you have on the day of the AP exam is your cheat sheet. And any other notes that you want to have available. Make sure you've got it all ready to go and there with you. After you finish the test, you should make sure that you get a confirmation page. So before you shut down your computer or you log out or anything like that, you will get a confirmation page that says that your uploads have been received. So make sure you get that confirmation page. If you don't get the confirmation page, you will likely need to do the makeup test. So you would need to request the makeup test if you don't get that confirmation page. So that's something to look for and be aware of. Okay, so just a couple of things that I want to talk about now that that aren't so much like the ins and outs of taking the AP exam at home this year, but just kind of in general. It's important to know that you can not answer every part of every question. So like question 1 is going to have parts A, B, C, D, E, something like that. If you don't answer one of those parts, you can still get a 5. Okay, so you don't have to answer every single question to pass the AP exam, let alone to get a 5 even on the AP exam. So keep that in mind. You don't have to answer everything. What you do want to make sure you do is that you spend time on the parts that you know you can get correct. Okay. So let's say you see part A and you're like, I'm not real sure about part A. Well, skip it and look at part B. Okay, part B. Oh, I feel confident about that. Spend some time. Be sure that you've written up a response that shows that you understand how to do it, and really spend time on that. Take a look at the next one. And then after seeing all the parts, if you have time, then go back and try that part A that you weren't sure about on the first time. But again, it's okay to not answer all the parts, but just really make sure you spend the time on the ones that you do know how to do. Another thing that they said that I thought was really interesting, that this is different and special about this year, is because it's such a short test, it's possible that the questions may be on things that you are not as good at, but maybe you're really good at some of the other things that don't get tested. And so they say that if you get a score lower than you expect, and I have a pretty good idea like who's going to pass at this point. And so, afterwards, if you're feeling like, you got a score, you say you didn't pass, but you felt like you knew your calculus, you felt like you really should have passed, let me know. Let's talk about it. Because I can request to review your score, and I think that they can do something to allow you to be able to pass somehow. So anyway, that is something that is not normal. And I think, again, it's because it's a short test. So keep that in mind. If you feel like the test was not testing you on the parts that you are good at, but only tested on the parts that you are not good at, you may still have a chance to show that you can do calculus well enough to get a passing score. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I have the survey that I was referring to that will be available to you guys in 15 minutes. I scheduled that to post at 10:40. And I just want to remind you guys real quick that you have 4 assignments this week. One that was due Monday on limits and continuity. One thing they didn't talk about in limits and continuity was L'Hôpital's rule. That's something that you see in Unit 4, but it is something that you could use in that Unit 1 stuff. Unit 2 stuff is due today. Unit 3 stuff is due tomorrow, Thursday. And then you'll have the Unit 4 stuff due on Saturday. So just a reminder that you have those things due at those times. So that is my spiel. I didn't talk at all about math, other than just the quick little plug about L'Hôpital's rules. So I am going to now take the rest of the time, because we still have another 10 or 15 minutes or so before I need to get going to my next class. So if anybody has questions at this point, I will take them. I will say this has been a quiet week this week in terms of my office hours, and I'm hoping that means it's because we're doing review stuff and people don't need as much help. But just a reminder, if there's stuff that you're not sure how to do, you know, we're getting close to the AP exam. Now's a good time to come into those office hours and get some help on stuff. So, so at any rate, I will say for now, if you want to sign off, you can. Please unmute yourself and show your video so that I can see you before you go. And if you have questions, you can stick around and I'll get to them.
Bye, Ms. Grassel.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye, Miss Grassel.
Bye,
Bye
Jen.
bye.
Adios.
Bye, Ms. Grassel.
Bye, Zach.
Bye, Ms. Grassel.
Bye,
Have
everybody.
a good day, Miss Grassel.
Thank you. You too, Mason. Bye,
Bye,
Zach.
Ms. Grassel.
Bye, Grace.
Bye,
Bye,
Ms.
Sophia.
Grassel.
Bye.
Bye, Cass.